One Piece has a lot of absolutely fantastic moments. From Usopp shooting the flag, to Sanji asking for a light, to Luffy dragging Nami up the mountain, to all of these insane moments that make you really love the show. Because what makes everyone love One Piece, I believe, more than the story and the world, which are two important characteristics, do not get me wrong, the characters are developed in a way that, one, even though all the characters are simplistic in nature, there's depth there too, and they all have very good character moments, and you get this feeling when you're watching One Piece that you would watch these characters do anything, and then throughout that time of them BSing around, and the BSing around cannot be lost on, because that is what makes these characters feel real and relatable, because that's something they do that any person can relate to, because yes, everybody knows their themes and their morals and all that, but just having fun is what makes you relate to One Piece characters, because that's something you do in your life with your friends, so you can then compare yourself to them in that way. But when they have grand moments like that is when you really appreciate them, and if you are looking at it analytically, you do get some more depth to the characters, and you do learn more about their morals and all of that other good thematic stuff. So there was a point when I was watching One Piece for the first time that I thought it was a good show, like a great show, like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10, but I didn't really get all the hype until this Luffy moment. When Luffy punches Charlo is when I absolutely had another level of respect for the series. Like, Luffy smacking Charlo like that was what really made me think, like, yes, Luffy is an amazing protagonist. Because before that point, it was very similar to other characters in Shonen, but that moment too, yes, there's a lot of characters. I think most other protagonists would have done that. But then to go further, the way it was executed on was perfect. So let me get into that. For one, we get the Celestial Dragons established a little bit earlier in that. And we see Charlos earlier to that point with the slaves. And that's one of the first times the Straw Hats really see them. You also meet Rayleigh as well. So you get some more depth to the story, because this is one of the first real world building moments on a large scale in One Piece. So you see them, and the first time they interact, you can tell all the Straw Hats are uneasy, and that if something were to really go down, that they would probably step in. But you also understand the scale of it as well, because you learn that the Celestial Dragons are higher than admirals, higher than the whole Marines, and they basically run the world, and that the fact that everyone there is allowing them to get away with that just shows the power they have. So also throughout this, you're meeting a bunch of other characters, but you don't really see them interact with the Straw Hats too much. I'm speaking on Law and Kid, of course. I think you see them a little bit, but nothing crazy, and then they're all at the auction house. When Kami is up for auction, you really see that something high pressured is about to go down, because Charlos is there, and he of course wants to buy her, and then the scuffle breaks out, and somehow, some way, we see that Charlo shoots Hachan. And you know, at that point, it's over. At that point, everything you know about Luffy has been established with how he protects his friends from every arc before. With Nami, I think Nami on Arlong Park is what really made you understand that there's no way Luffy was going to let that slide. And then the way it was animated when it goes full manga panel was just an awesome moment, because you feel so proud of Luffy in that moment. Because not only is he goofy and that he does all the stuff that makes him cool and epic, but he's going to stand up for his friends, and honestly someone he doesn't really know. But more than anything, you know that it's the right thing to do, and he follows this approach of disregards what's considered an educated decision or what's a smart decision, and he simply operates in terms of what he believes is the right thing to do. And in that moment when he hits Charlos, he's essentially declaring war on the world government, more so than he was when he shot the flag. So it was an issue as is, but you see all the other characters think he's crazy, but honestly, like Zoro and Sanji, I believe they expected that to happen, and most of the Straw Hats should have known. Knowing Luffy's nature, that is what's going to happen, because at the end of the day, Luffy didn't care about anything else other than the fact that Charlos was trying to hurt his friends, and that Charlos was honestly the worst human being he's ever met, who treats people like he's higher than them for no reason, and that's something Luffy is not going to stand for. So honestly, that moment, I felt more in tune with the characters at that time, because yes, all the goofy stuff was good, and their character moments were also good to that point, but that was the highest level, because even though it was something we all expected to a degree, we knew something of the sort was going to happen. The way it was executed as like a direct shot with no real backing out of it, nothing like, oh, Charlos is going to forget this happened or anything like that. It was Luffy making a direct statement that no matter what the consequences are, he's always going to do the right thing despite what might be the best decision in that instance. So let me know what your favorite moment from One Piece is, and I think what makes these raw emotions like this, because I didn't go back and reread this because I really wanted to just look at it from my perspective going backwards and just how I felt about it then. I feel like when you reread it, you might force yourself on a more analytical approach, but I think there's something special about just what your impressions are and what emotions it left you with, because I probably experienced that like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and those are the feelings I'm left with it now. So let me know what your favorite moment is. Let me know how it had you feeling. And that's all I have for you today. We're just getting started. We're going to stay consistent, and I will see you in the next video.